Does your dog have separation anxiety? Probably not. Separation anxiety is the most commonly misdiagnosed and overdiagnosed behavior problem that we come across. I believe most people think the dog being upset, the dog being stressed out and spinning around, and jumping on the door and barking and carrying on because you're trying to leave, is your dog acting out, having a little temper tantrum, like a little, 5-year-old that's upset about you going to the store without them. So the dog is doing the same thing. It's having a temper tantrum about being left alone. So your dog being stressed out or acting out because you're leaving is not separation anxiety. A true separation anxiety, you will see that your dog is sopping wet. The dog will be drooling. It will look like somebody poured a bucket of water down the dog's chest. There will be destruction to the point where the dog would hurt itself. You will see bloody scratch marks around windows and door moldings. The dog will be trying to dig until it hurts itself. I have worked with dogs that have chewed molding and then broken through the windows. We find them over at the neighbor's house with little bits of glass all over them because they jumped through a window. So there will be multiple accidents. You will see accidents under windows and around doors, multiple accidents, not just a little mistake. That is a true separation anxiety. Severe drooling, sopping wet drooling, destruction to the point where they're hurting themselves, multiple accidents. So that's a true separation anxiety. Now, a stress-related behavior where a dog is acting out, barking, spinning, jumping on the door because you're trying to leave, can develop into a true separation. So it's important to know the difference so that you know what steps you're going to take to correct the issue, to teach the dog it's okay, to be alone. So we talked about the importance of the stay command being a great desensitizing tool. So teaching stay, there are 2 steps. We teach the dog stay, so the dog will develop self-control and the dog will develop tolerance. Then we teach stay alone. And what we do is we start in little increments, little seconds. So we get the dog to stay alone quietly for 2-3 seconds at a time. So let's say we're going to go for 5 seconds. We have the dog stay, we go out. When we come back, the dog is either going to come chasing, barking after us, so we're going to do it again. Or the dog is stayed quietly and we can come in and praise. Good. So if we got 5 seconds of stay alone, now we're going to build up to 10 and 15, and we're going to build, and we want to get a 2-minute stay alone. And we desensitize, we distract with the sounds of leaving. Jiggling the doorknobs, making the sound of the keys, pick up a pocketbook or a backpack, things like that, so that we teach the dog to relax when they see those activities. The other is to see where or when the behavior actually starts. So we've had cases where we traced it all the way back to when the dog would hear the water go on in the shower. The dog would start pacing around the living room. So the owner went upstairs and the dog heard the shower go on. Oh, we get up and start pacing. And so now, by the time the person was fully dressed in at the door, the dog was pretty worked up. So now we have developed a true separation anxiety because the dog was starting that panic all that time. So we look for where it begins. Sometimes the dog is fine We've had cases where the dogs don't seem to mind at all. They're calm about all the process of leaving, but then 10 to 15 minutes of being alone, and now the breathing changes, the drooling starts. So we see now is where it begins, and that's where we're going to start working. So we know that we have 15 minutes, so that we're going to come in and start working with the dog at 12 to 13 minutes. So these are the little details in understanding what separation anxiety is, a true separation anxiety, and how to work on it. So this is why in your basics that we spend a lot of time on teaching a distracted stay, and we teach the dog to stay alone. In other words, the dog staying with you in the room is one thing, the dog with you out of the room is another, and then out of the house. And we desensitize all those little steps. The door open and closing, the sound of your footsteps, starting the car, the garage door, all those little steps we take. So we open the garage door and the dog starts acting up. Oh, now we're going to close the door, get the dog back to a downstay or a sit stay, and then go open the door again. So it's a process. It's layering a process. Be aware that goodbyes stress the dog out. So I have seen situations where people have turned what was supposed to be something soothing into a trigger. So in other words, we're going to leave, so every time we leave, we put on certain music or we give the dog a certain toy. And after a while, what happens is when the dog hears that music or sees that toy, they panic. Uh-oh, that means you're going to leave, you see. So the things that were meant to relax the dog have backfired. For my personal dog, loves a bully stick. The only time he gets a bully stick is when I'm leaving. And he can't wait for me to leave. So he sees I'm getting ready to leave. He'll go sit in the kitchen and look. And the last thing I do before I walk out the dog is I give him his bully stick, go to his bed, and he just, chewing is a big stress reliever. So there are lots of different steps to take. The first one is to realize you don't want to spend a lot of time preparing when you're going to leave and hugging and I'll be right back and do. You just put the dog, the dog, go to your bed, here's your chew toy, you're out the door. So we don't make a big deal about goodbyes. Goodbyes stress the dog out. But determine first off, do you have a dog who's just acting up and acting out because he's not happy about you leaving? Or do we really have a true separation anxiety? So those are the things to look for. I hope that helps you understand what separation anxiety is. Understand that it develops. It doesn't just happen overnight. There's been little processes building up to it, and it is correctable. It's correctable with the right steps, the right process, and the right order. I hope that helps. I love your questions. Keep them coming. There's a lot of information about separation anxiety in my book, The Affection Connection. It is available on Amazon in either paperback or ebook, where you can follow this instruction, and I am always here to help any way I can. Come on, lazy boy. Up. Let's go. Yeah, remember him? So I hope that helps. Bye for now.